Great. Ed is not here yet, but I'll start the meeting anyway, so give it a couple minutes.
Yeah, they're in charge.
Why don't we give it 2 minutes? I'll try to get quorum. I don't want to tell Will I started without quorum. Oh, Brian.
Well, it's like, well, my wife is gonna listen in. She's gonna eavesdrop on what I'm doing. It's fine. No, not at all.
There's
That's
Rocio.
my ass truck. Rocio, I have a dog over here, just so you know.
Oh,
He's very
hello.
friendly.
Might not say Rocio would be. Yes,
You
right.
said Rocio would be here. You're at quorum.
Never said. Unless I say something, I'm gonna be.
Oh, Ed's here too. Perfect. Now we have more than quorum. All right, shall we start? Is it everything on?
How's everybody?
We're live and we have a nice sort of meeting that will. Oh, and we have a good number of attendees. All right, well, this is how do we start? This is the June meeting of the Street Activities and Resiliency Committee of Manhattan Community Board 2. And he's here. Um,
你觉得叫话了，大家开会呢。
That's it.
I have muted. No. Ed is online. Ed is part of our committee. Hi, Ed. And then we have Michael Levine, Brian Pace, Erica Olson, Will Banesh, our chair, is out today, Amy Brenna, and Rocio Sams. So how we do it is same as always. So we'll go through the agenda. And if anyone is here from each of the applicants, we'll hear you speak, tell us a little bit about the event, as much as you can. If you have anything to share, we can have you share screen. And then we'll go to business and it'll be nice and neat. All right, so getting started then, is anyone here from Booth Clico?
My favorite. My favorite.
So we are objective.
I'll put it on your calendar.
Is Mackenzie coming from?
Hello, can you hear me?
Here's someone.
Hi, Mackenzie, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you all virtually.
Nice to meet you. If you can turn your camera on, that would be.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Oh, good.
Good.
Sorry, 1 second.
Weingrad from your team as well?
Yes, so I also have Hope, who is also my associate producer with me on this project. So everyone, Hope's going to share her screen. We'll just show you guys kind of what we're planning on doing outside of our exhibition. It will be open to the public starting the 17th to the 23rd. No alcohol will be served outside on the street or anything like that. The only time alcohol will be served will be during a private party that will end at 9:30.
Sorry, can you tell us the name of the organization just for the record?
Yes, of course. It's the Clico, and they're partnering with Magnum Photography. It'll be an art gallery exhibition that will be open to the public from the 17th to the 23rd. We basically are only going to have 2 chairs and 2 tables seating outside. We'll have a stanchion line, security, all those things. And then we'll have a little cart that will give out water to people as they are waiting in line.
And this is on Lafayette between Broome and Spring.
Correct.
What are the hours?
What are the hours?
So we'll be open to the public starting at 11 a.m. We'll close around 7 p.m. All of our time and noise will be done before 10 p.m. every day, so that will not be an issue for the neighbors nearby. Some of the hours vary depending on the schedule. The client is still working out the formality of the exact schedule, but right now we're looking at 11 to 7 p.m. every day, open to the public.
Okay, and then the private party, does that have any outside, anything on the street, anything like that?
Nope, it will just have, you know, the cart and then the little chairs, but they'll probably be moved inside very early on. And then the party will conclude at 9:30.
And what day is that?
It is on the
What day is that? The
Mhm.
party? Is the party every night or one day?
It's one day on the 17th.
Okay.
But that's gonna conclude around 9:30.
Correct.
And is there any sound, any noise, any music?
There'll be music throughout the party inside, but it won't be, it won't be higher than the decibels that are allowed within the neighborhood. So we'll be keeping it to what it is supposed to be. Music and light and everything will be done at 9:30 and guests will leave at 9:30.
Got it. And do you know how, I see the sidewalk, do you know how much space you have? I see 5 feet. 5 feet pedestrian walkway?
Correct.
Okay. We have a question in the chat. Are you gonna paint the building or do any other changes to the facade?
We are still discussing it. We may be painting it, yes, but it won't be anything crazy. I believe it'll just be one color, but it's still being discussed.
And then do you return it to
It'll be
normal?
at the end of the week back to the black color that it is currently now.
Anyone from the committee?
What is the address again?
216 Lafayette.
Okay, so this is the vacant, this is a pop-up, so that's in that vacant space that had exhibits there before.
Correct.
Saying you're painting it and then you repaint it when you're done?
Correct.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
And then on this diagram where 216 Lafayette is printed along the curve, it looks like, what is that supposed to represent? The squiggly line.
So the squiggly line, I'm sorry, hold on. It's not really supposed to represent anything. The 216 Lafayette is technically the building when you're looking at the site plan. Then the sidewalk is all of the light gray. The dark gray would then be the street.
Got it. Okay. Had it reversed.
Yeah.
Good.
I know you said you're still figuring out the times, but that does affect, how we vote on something like this. When will you know your actual times? And will it be significantly different?
No, it won't. There's nothing that will go past 10 p.m. So no noise should be an issue at all during this time. We are very aware that there are neighbors. So that should not ever be an issue. I do believe that some nights we'll have like some of the team members will want to probably stay till maybe 8 or till 9, but there's no one staying past 10 p.m.
Right, but they open to the public 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. You said that's still
11, yes,
low.
is what we're aiming for every day is what that will be technically starting.
Okay.
That should not change. The only thing that could change is that one day we may be opening just a little bit later due to the client wanting to have more time in the space privately. So we may open at 12, but it's nothing crazy where we're going from, 9 a.m. till maybe we change it to 1 p.m. The hours vary only by an hour or so.
Okay. Thank you.
And the BA is brand ambassador, though, who will be outside next to the cart.
So we'll have a brand ambassador and we'll have a security guard outside to help facilitate all line management and anything that could obstruct anyone walking by, which it should not, because we will be keeping the 5 feet between both.
Gotcha. And just the water is in the cart, but you go inside to get alcohol.
You cannot get alcohol unless you are at the private party, which is only on the 17th. So there will be no serving of alcohol unless you are invited to this party, which we will also be doing. We will handle it internally within the building.
How will you prevent people from taking the alcohol outside?
I'm sorry?
How will you prevent people from taking the alcoholic beverage outside into the street?
Well, it's a private party, so it's going to be security that we will have, our team on site, we will have hired staff. It will be all contained within the building.
And what is inside? Like, what are people lining up for? Did I miss that?
No.
It's a private gallery, so it's about 40 pieces of photography that have been hand selected by the Magnum Photography Company for showcasing as a partnership with Booth Clicquot.
Got it. Okay.
And that's free for the public?
Correct.
All right.
Other questions from anyone? Will you, the bottles of water you're giving out, will you have like trash cans or anything like that nearby?
We will have cleaners on site who will also be cleaning everything. We'll be picking up trash. All of those things will be handled by our team, as well as us hiring a team to come in and help with that. So all trash should be handled by us, but we will strongly also encourage people to, you know, be respectful of outside and not just leave it sitting, things like that.
Gotcha. And then how many people roughly are you expecting from the public each day? I'm sure it'll differ depending on the day, but what is your expected?
I mean, right now we obviously will have to abide by the TPA within the space, so we're not going to overcrowd the space, but we are hoping to have people come in shifts. So hopefully throughout the day we have about 400 to 500 people is what we are ideally aiming for every day.
I'm sorry, say that again. How many people?
400 to 500 people, but not all at once. They will be during shifts. They will have to, you know, line up. There will be something that they have to sign up for to line up in a certain time slot to be able to go into the building. That's how we're going to manage this. So we do not overcrowd the area, do not block anyone. We are very aware that this is a residential area and we want to be respectful to that.
Are they registering online?
It's a QR code that they can scan right when they walk by.
And how are you promoting this, if at all?
We are not promoting it. The client, Clico, is handling all promotion themselves.
And do you know how they're promoting it?
I believe via social media, via their website, and some other outlets with their PR team, but I can't speak more onto that, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Are there any celebrity names associated with this that'll be part of the promotion?
Not that we've been made aware of, no.
Thank you.
I will say too, with the photographer exhibit, I don't know if any of you have heard of Magnum, but it is really a special like photography exhibit that we think will be really fun to show in the community and drive people through that. So that would be a celebrity, I guess, from them.
Any other questions from the committee? Otherwise, I'll go to more chat and then Pete. How many and what type of vehicles will be parked? And will they take over the block as they did for other clients?
I don't believe we're planning on having a bunch of cars parked. I don't even know how that'd be possible considering the two restaurants that border us, but we would just be taking up the curb lane. We would not have vehicles lined up the whole area. All of our vendors are very aware that this is an area with a lot of people around them, so they'll be very respectful and they'll move their trucks when they need to and drop off what they need to and leave.
And are you using the whole building?
Yes, we are.
Yes. How many people roughly? I think someone in the chat is saying it can hold over 200. Do you have a sense? I know there's art and you said you don't want to crowd the building. Do you have a sense of how many people you'll kind of allow in per session?
Yeah, due to the build and what we are hanging, things like that. And because of that having to be submitted for a TPA, I believe we can only hold about 180 at one time.
Great. Laura, we'll have you talk, 'cause I know these questions are from you, and then Pete, we'll go to you after. Laura, I just let you talk with your.
Do you hear me now? I'm
Yes.
so used to seeing my picture come up. I was waiting for that. Sorry.
You're okay.
Yeah, I mean, I live very close to this applicant, and they've had events at this space already before, which really had a tremendous impact on the neighborhood. And it wasn't because of nighttime noise, particularly. It was because of how they took over the sidewalk. 2 or 3 days to paint the facade, and at the beginning, 2 or 3 days, and to put up whatever they put up, like what they did for Coca-Cola or Pepsi-Cola, whatever it was. And then to undo it.
Yes.
Each time with 3 or 4 of those big lifts that go on the street and beep as they back up or go as they move, and the squeaking as they go up. The noise on the street is tremendous. And during that time, we pedestrians do not have access to the sidewalk. They had us go into the street. At the same time, also, they had trucks lined up all the way to the restaurant on the corner. They were in front of the restaurant. It was not restaurants. It was not respectful to anybody. I think that it's really a problematic business to be in a community and in a district that has a combination of residential and manufacture and residential element in the zoning, as well as allowing event spaces. But this event space is very busy. It's right next door to another event space that they also own, which they use for doing filming and have been using for filming long before the zoning changed and made it legal to do that. In fact, that building next door is still joint live work quarters for artists. And yet they do film. And when that happens in the neighborhood, for blocks and blocks around, we have the filming trucks, and you know what that does to quality of life for neighbors. It's a problematic thing. They said in their, I noticed that in their event details that they filled in for that came from SAPO, they said attendance would be 0 to 74. Well, clearly that's not accurate. And that's a little bit disturbing. It's a busy street. It's a very popular street. It's a narrow sidewalk for what it is on a busy street. 5 feet is not really enough. And we can say that very, very sincerely because we've lived with the cafes and wall-to-wall sidewalk sheds for the last several years. This is a neighborhood that the zoning used to say only small cafes, one line of tables, not a double line. It's just their usage of our sidewalk is over the top. And that's all I'm going to say. And for 10 days, I'm going to have to fight when I go to the stores I like to frequent in that area. No. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Mackenzie and team, I don't know if you guys have been the production team on other events in this space, but we have seen this is where like the YSL thing was out of control. Like we have seen this be a little mess. Are you guys super familiar with this block, this street, this space? Can you address some of the concerns Flora has?
Yes, and I apologize for any inconvenience that any past pop-ups have done to the community and to you, Laura, to going to your stores and things like that. I understand that that's an inconvenience, and I think Gradient as a company is very respectful of their surrounding neighbors, and that's what we will do. I mean, we will have a scissor lift going up and painting the facade, but we really only have a few days to load in. So we only have 10 hours at the venue. So we will be respectful. That being said, unfortunately, this is something that the venue told us we were able to do, that this was never a problem. They did mention that YSL was a very long line, but they were handing out free product. We will not be handing out free product. We will not be giving away free giveaways, which I think can make those, lines increase. And it does bring up much bigger atmosphere and more certain type of people who really want to get in and get that free product. And we will not be doing that. So if that helps in any way, I hope that that does. But yeah, we will be as respectful as we can. I mean, that's really Gradient's way. We don't want to ever come into a community and make them feel like we've just taken over. We really respect the community, and we want to continue doing things within New York City. So we're not going to leave a place with a bad taste in people's mouths.
Yeah.
And so just so based on the comments we heard, so from the 6/15 and 16 will be where you are painting the facade, and then Is that, I'm asking you if this is true. So 6:15 and 6:10, you'll be painting the facade, and then from 6:24 and 25, you'll be undoing it. Is that correct? It takes 2 days on either end?
It does, from what our painters have told us, yes, it does take 2 days. I have not been given any notification that it's more than that. So that is what we are planning, yes, for our.
May I ask if the scissor lifts will start at 11 o'clock, or you're going to be starting doing that at 7 in the morning?
We're not starting at 7 in the morning. We are in the venue at 8 a.m., but we are planning on starting quite early. But if it is something that of a concern, we can definitely work with our painters to start a little bit later.
What's the latest that you can start your load in or painting or whatever? Do you paint first or do you load in first?
So we would,
Put in the-
again, so just to be very, I just want to be very transparent. When we've loaded in our vendors who we work with for years, we have loaded into places such as Gansevoort and all those places where you have to be absolutely silent during a certain time. And we have done that and never once had a complaint, all those things. We are very respectful of timing, understanding people don't always wake up at a certain time, that it's respectful hours. We will be very respectful of that during load-in. The scissor, understanding that the beeping is annoying. I think that the latest that we could possibly start would be 9 a.m. to be perfectly honest, because we only have 10 hours access time.
Okay, so let me readjust what I've written down. So from the 17th to the 23rd, it'll be open to the public from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And then from 7 p.m. to 10 on the 17th, you'll have a private party. And maybe one other day might open earlier for another private event. Is that correct?
It's not really private. It's just that we may like have the company want to come in earlier with their executives just to see it. It's not like, and they may be coming to a bigger group. It's not a private event per se.
Okay, and then I'm just trying to write up my notes so we get it, what you're saying. So then on the 6:15 to 6:16, you will be loading in starting what time? I know you said the beeping and stuff might not start till 9, but what time will you start showing up? And I understand you said it's silent, et cetera, but we really do need the hours. You'll be working that day.
We will be in the venue from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay.
Possibility of extending till later, but we would, yeah.
But you'll agree to no outside noise on the scissor lift or any beeping until 9 a.m.
I can try. Yes, I can try.
And that would end at 6 p.m.
Correct. Again, I can try for that.
Okay.
I my best, but.
Okay.
Brian? Oh, sorry.
So, and then when you're doing the painting, it does take up the whole sidewalk. Is that correct? So do you create a protected sidewalk in the street for residents if you're taking up the whole sidewalk?
We will have cones, so we can, of course, put cones out. We also have the curb lane permit that we've submitted for, so we could also make a pathway that leads onto that curb that is ours that we've shown in this diagram with cones, if that's helpful.
Okay. Does it, can you have a ramp on and off for accessibility from if they're stepping off the sidewalk into the street? I'm just trying to make this accessible for the neighbors.
I mean, I'd have to look into all of this, to be perfectly honest with you. We were planning on scissor lift. We were planning on having, cones as caution for people, like we always do for safety hazard. But we can definitely look into making a pathway that's something that, you're happy with and we're happy with. Yes.
I was only saying, I don't have a problem with the cones, but for accessibility, if someone can't get off and on off the curb on their own, I've seen those little wooden ramps.
Okay. Yeah, we can.
You know how
Make sure that we can make sure we can block off so it's still a 5-foot leeway. I don't think with the scissor lift, it shouldn't be bigger than that. They're normally only like width-wise about 4 feet. So
yeah, I think that's what we were planning on doing. We weren't really, but if the Lord, if you have had in the past where it's become an even bigger issue, I'm not really sure how that's been done, that it's been such an issue that you can't walk on the sidewalk, but we were planning on having the scissor lift as close as possible to the building, putting cones around it so people could walk still around as everything is happening.
I mean, these protected paths in the street are pretty common. It's just the accessibility getting off.
I think if you could just protect the 5-foot leeway, we should be,
Of course,
before you put the tables and chairs, so you have that space.
that won't go out until all of that is done. So there won't even be a worry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to point out one last thing, that Jack's wife Frida on the corner always has people lined up too. So the whole street becomes a hazard for walking and makes it very unpleasant. I mean, at least, you know, the sheds have pretty much come down, but Jack's wife Frida, you're forced to walk on the subway grading. And because of the lines there, and this is just a few doors down. And I don't know, I hope the lines don't meet. But anyway, that's my last comment.
That there's more and more clarity around in the outdoor dining regulations that have come out. And so if there's not enough room to walk, if the subway grades are not included in that, definitely call 311 and start the complaint process, because I know we now have more clarity on it, so it's easier to kind of ask each place to reel it in a bit.
And we do
But-
have an open dining committee, and you can go onto our website and find the name of the chair if you want to follow.
Thank you. I used to chair the committee you're currently sitting on. I used to chair the SLA committee, and I used to chair the land use committee. It's been years, but I'm familiar with the community board.
Okay, yeah, this is a new committee that started.
Right. Yeah, it was actually called Street Activities at the time I chaired it.
Oh, nice. Well, welcome back.
Well, take care.
Thank you. I'm gonna,
So,
yeah,
I
go.
just
I'm gonna
wanted to
just kind of-
clarify.
Mark, can you put her back?
Sorry.
Oh, just put Laura back
Into the attendees.
into the attendees. Right.
Yeah, so I was just wanting to clarify that while you're preparing the site, including that painting and so on, you're going to try your best to keep a protected walkway on the sidewalk so that people can get by.
Correct.
All right, that's important.
That's also super important. Safety is a big thing. So we will do everything that we need to abide
And
by.
keep it on the sidewalk, that's.
I do think, I figured it out, by the way, I got it now. I do think though, to Laura's point, you do have the 0 to 74 attendees in your SAPO, and if it's max 180, that's pretty significant. I think.
Yeah, so that's just for if we were to fill the entire space at one time. We don't think that that's what's going to happen. That was just the absolute max. But this party is, and that's for the party. The 180 would be for the party. The party is a bunch of people coming in waves, so we don't actually predict that. We predict what was put in the SAPO, which is 0 to 74.
Anyone else? Otherwise, we'll go to Pete. All right, Pete, I believe I gave you talking permission, but let me know if I didn't.
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can.
Very good. My window is open and there's a lot of traffic, so I apologize for that in advance, but hopefully I can get some clarity here. What I'm looking at is the paperwork that's linked on the CB2 website for a production event. Is there a second application for this event? For a street event?
No, we have submitted.
So a production event is only for parking, for loading and unloading. It's not for taking up sidewalk. So that's a small street event. But here you're showing on your street plan that you're going to have tables and chairs, you're going to have a cart, you're going to have stanchions. It also says west curb lane to park production trucks and production vehicles. And it also says that curb lane only. So I'm just confused by what you're claiming to SAPO you're doing and what you're now presenting to the community that you're doing, which are two very different things.
Yeah, I think Adam just jumped in the comments, and apologies if I interrupted you, Pete, but we just changed it today. Actually, this is a recent development from the client. So when we originally were applying for the SAPO permit, that was a separate one. And then we just recently today asked for a street event category. So it has been updated, but I think he's working through.
12 days in advance or less for a street event, which requires 14 days in advance. We've always been told by SAPO that the paperwork can't be changed. What's submitted is submitted, and that's what's considered. So you put us in a very bad situation by your changes, your last minute, this and that and the other. And the reason I am kicking on this is because of what Laura said about the similar situation happened with the Coca-Cola event, where it was said that it was a production event, but then, whoa, there's lines, there's this, there's that. I already see that this is being promoted online as a party. So I just find that there's a little bit of dancing around here. And I don't know what to do with it, but I would say based on what was submitted to CB2, that is not what is being planned. And that CB2 really has no choice but to tell SAPO, this is not what's happening and this can't be approved. Thank you.
Thanks, Pete. And Adam, I don't think everybody, your chat is just to the hosts and panelists. Do you want to just jump on? And I know you're putting a lot of information in there just so everyone can hear. Do you want to jump on and just explain what you're putting in the chat?
Yeah, Hope basically detailed what it was. Originally, we had just applied for the curb lane just for our trucks to load and unload. The client came to us last week, wanted to put a sampling cart out there just to give people some water, put a table and a chair out there. That's basically all that we're adding. That would start on the 17th, which as of today is 2 weeks from today. The 17th is when the tables and chairs will go out, when the water cart will go out. The 17th is 2 weeks from today. So I just emailed Shanique at SAPO today asking for that. We sent them the same site plan today and we asked them to bump it up to a street event. But yeah, that's basically it. Nothing shady is going on. Neither I nor Gradient were involved with the YSL event, with the Coca-Cola event. So I just think, if there's any issues with the actual venue, it probably would just be in the best interest to get a hold of the landlord and the gentlemen or ladies that run the actual venue, because we can't speak to other events because we were not involved in those events. But we're going to make sure that based on the complaints that we're hearing about those events, that, we would obviously not like to follow in those footsteps. And we would like to ensure that everything goes well, and we'll use those comments to ensure that those things that happened previously don't happen this time.
I'm relatively new to this committee, so I'm just asking for clarifications. It's learning from you all. So the permit you originally asked for, there's different timing associated with that. I think it's a different price point as well, what you pay for. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're going to bump the price point up too. The city's going to gain a whole lot more revenue because a small street event for 7 days is like a $3,100 per day permit. So yes, but we haven't paid any fees yet, so we're waiting for our request to get reassessed.
Okay, so what you're presenting to us today, you have already submitted to SAPO?
Yes. Yep. Everything we asked for today, we submitted to you guys tonight.
You elevated to small street event already with SAPO, but it happened today. So that's why we're not seeing it, because our agenda's done. But
Right.
because it's the correct number of days until the tables get put out, it's within the allotted time frame. Is that correct?
Right, right, because the 15th and 16th just stay as load-in days. The 17th to the 23rd would be the small street event days, and the 24th and the 25th would be the loadout.
We didn't.
So I do have a question about the tables because they're shown in that little diagram, street plan, sitting in the amenity zone, which is never allowed anywhere in the city. So unless there's some exception to the rule,
Sitting in what zone?
it's called an amenity zone. The 3 or 4 feet next to the curb is not to be encumbered without special permission.
Okay, I'm not aware of that. I've never heard that before, but okay. If anything, the tables and chairs, the way that they're, we would probably flip them sideways so they're not protruding in and out, facing east-west. They'll probably be better faced north-south, so they take up less space on the sidewalk.
Yeah, oftentimes only next to the building would be an allowance for tables on the sidewalk. So that would be something to, work out. I couldn't approve this.
And
So are they willing, are you willing to check the sidewalk, the chairs and tables so that they go along? Instead of sticking out the sidewalk?
We can definitely speak to the clients and move them maybe to the in front of the building closer to that edge if that would be preferable.
And moving the chairs, right?
Yes, they would be moving the chairs and the tables.
And that's not us, that's the law. We're just not approving something that's illegally there.
Absolutely.
Given, it seems like there's obviously like a lot of issues. Do you guys know of like contact information? And I know you guys are the production company, but clearly we've had issues with this space. The community is showing up to speak to this space. Do you guys have contact information for this leaseholder, this landlord? Because you guys are kind of facing the brunt of it, and anyone who comes into this space is going to do that. I don't know if we have that information or if they can email Mark, but I think the community clearly wants to speak with the leaseholder, who I know is not you. Do you guys have a generic contact information that you could share?
I mean, not publicly right here, but you could share it with us. You could email it to us.
Yeah, I think we can look into that and see, what that entails, and we can have that discussion for sure in an email, however you guys would prefer that. Again, it's quite upsetting to hear that there was such a bad situation prior to us, because it's definitely not how we operate as a company, as a production company, any of those things. And we've worked with Adam a lot, and we've really abided by the book on what we've been told that we could do and we can't do. So yeah, I think we can do our best to come to an agreement with you guys and everything. But again, I apologize on behalf of the leaseholder of the previous people, because that's not how we run our operations. And obviously it's upsetting to you all in the community, and we're sorry for that.
And sorry, I should have said, if it's like a website or a publicly available thing, you could put it in the chat. And if it's not, you can email it to Mark and we can be kind of the go-between.
Okay.
So just to be clear, you guys cannot guarantee that you won't put the tables up, right? Because I think that's an important element for us.
If it's not legal, we will not put them out. We can, and I'm curious, Adam, if you have insight, because originally before the tables, we were going to have the stanchions be on that side, which I think is legal to have the line be in that area. And then maybe we could flip that with the tables so that that's preferable, because I do believe that's normally how that's structured. But regardless, there will be the 5 feet pathway at all times.
You want to say something?
I think they're confusing outdoor dining with what's permissible outside of a structure. They get 3 feet, don't they? Unless this is not a licensed premises with outdoor dining.
This is not a licensed premises with outdoor dining.
So isn't it,
But
Brian, you know the rules,
Brian-
isn't it
Well,
free
that's-
in the building?
So really, without the outdoor dining license from the city, you're not supposed to obstruct anything on the sidewalk.
Unless it's
So-
a sidewalk event.
Right.
Right.
So this would be a special permit from the city to have a sidewalk event. And that's that would be up to them to say what's going to be allowed. But it does seem like, I would hope that there's some coordination between what DOT says is allowable on the sidewalks or anything, any obstruction, and what SAPO is doing.
And this is the
Or-
plan that you've submitted to SAPO, the updated one, correct? We're seeing what theirs.
Yes.
Okay, but without any feedback, you don't know what they're gonna say, so we'll see. I guess that's our usual language has to apply to all rules. So,
And then one more question from the chat. Can you tell us how far the stanchions are going outside of the end of the building? Are they infringing on the next building?
No, they'll be stopping at the end of our property.
Okay.
I know the picture might make it look like that, but promise we will stop it before.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
challenge for you.
that was a big first one.
Yeah.
Next one, Meatpacking Association, Plaza Hole. You got it.
Evan has to accept.
Oh, Evan, if you can hear us, you need to accept the promotion. Evan, you should be good to go. You can hear us. I don't know. He raised his hand, but he's allowed to talk.
Yep, there it is. So he can unmute it.
All right, Evan, you can unmute. You should be good. You should have
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Evan Sweet. I'm the Director of Operations and Neighborhood Planning for the Meatpacking Business Improvement District. I'm here this afternoon about our 4th of July Plaza hold. I don't have a lot of detail to be able to provide the community board at this time regarding the event. This really came out of the announcement from Macy's and the SAPO regarding the 4th of July events taking place in the Hudson River on the 4th, on Thursday the 4th. So for the meatpacking bid, we managed the Gansevoort Plaza, and we wanted to ensure that we were in control of the plaza for that day in order to put on some potential public events in the plaza, as well as some of the neighboring streets, including Gansevoort Street. At this time, we're still working on our program for the event. We anticipate it being similar to Treats in the Streets and other kind of neighborhood community events that we put on throughout the year, like the Red Umbrella Day. Right now, we anticipate having a DJ playing music on Gansevoort Plaza. In addition to that, we are going to have lawn games on Gansevoort Street as well as Gansevoort Plaza. And it's likely that we're going to be working with Dixon's Farm Stand Meats to provide a kind of cookout experience and grill that will likely happen on Gansevoort Street adjacent to the plaza. And we're also presently working on a SLA permit to allow for the consumption of alcohol as part of that event as well. The likely times for the event are roughly the actual programmed event is 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. That way people get to the public viewing areas after that with the anticipation. I believe fireworks are at 9:30 that evening. We are not going to have an event go on that late. We really think about it as kind of the afternoon activity that you do before going to fireworks. And so we'll likely be wrapped by 8 p.m. Or so with everything going on the plaza.
So it's around 2 to 6 and then it's wrapped by 8?
Yeah, it should be about that time.
Okay. SLA permit, you'll go through SLA. You want to tell us DJ? That's usually something we like to hear about.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, my hair's a little bit. At this point, we're likely to have sound. We'll get a sound permit for NYPD in order to provide that on the plaza.
Okay. Any food? Drinks?
Yeah, so that's
Giveaway?
we're anticipating working with Dixon's Farm Stand Meats and Chelsea Market to produce a kind of cookout. It's likely we'll use charcoal or propane fires or grills out on the street, as we've done with other events similar to that in the past. And we'll go to FDNY to get the necessary permits for both of those, for both propane and charcoal.
And you'll do cleanup, trash, all of that.
That's right.
Cool. Questions from the committee?
Well, can we go back to the noise issue again? How noisy will the setup be?
The setup?
Setup.
Sorry, go on again, Michael?
Yeah, the setup. Will it be a very noisy setup?
I don't believe so. There's nothing out of the ordinary for load in. I believe almost everything should be loaded in by hand. We don't have any build out that requires heavy equipment. So I wouldn't think there would be substantial noise as a result of the installation.
Good, thank you.
Other questions? Anyone from the public? Do you see anything, Ron? Okay. And we're all set. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you. You're good.
Vanessa?
No, I want to, after we're done with this, I want to tell you something I just found online about the event we just spoke about.
Okay, Hermes is laid over, right? So is there anyone here from Figs?
Can I just go back to the?
Oh, yeah, you want to do it now?
Yeah, I just want to let you know. Oh, I can wait until we're done. Nothing,
Business session, kind of.
business session. I can tell you some more information I just got online.
Unless it's something we need them to respond to, but I think that's.
Well, yeah, it's different hours.
I don't see anyone raising their hand from Figs.
They were no show up.
Oh,
No show?
okay. Is that the problematic pop-up? Got it. All right, well, no show anyway. Bumble and Bumble.
Last truck.
So interesting. Is anyone here from Bumble and Bumble? Did they say they were going to come? Bumble and Bumble. Shanique, Chris, Miranda. Okay. No show for Bumble and Bumble. All right. Should we go through FYI renewals or should we talk about Amy's?
Why don't I just fill you in on this? All right, so I'm on there looking at tickets and they have talks with photographers that you can sign up for, which are sold out. that on Tuesday, the 18th, and Thursday, the 20th, go from 7 to 8 p.m. I'm not saying 8 p.m. is that late, but it's different than what they told us. And then, so that's 2 nights. And then, hold on, let me go to the 19th. So the 19th, hold on. Okay, hold on, I just want to check one thing. Okay, and then, yes, and so far I haven't looked at every day, but the other times, okay, but they have 2 events that they didn't mention.
It's the 7th.
Yeah, that are 7 to 8. So I'm just saying there seems to be some confusion about. You might want to just note that.
Okay, I have it noted in the notes. Maybe we go FY renewals, and then we'll get into it in
Yeah.
business.
Sure.
Okay. I'm not as familiar with these ones, but we'll go through them. Whitney Pride Night. Has there been any issues with that?
No.
Whitney Museum events. I don't know what this is, but the full free closure. The day after Pride Night, so I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen those, I've been
We
there
usually
before,
say
sure.
The mobile units of comedy errors, Astor Plaza. Sounds fun, Village Alliance. OCM Street Fair. The Nolita Hester between Elizabeth and Mott. The new school 27th annual block party. West 12th between 5th and 6th. Full street closure. I mean, these are just all the summer block parties, right? CAS block party by NYU. Full sidewalk and street closure on Green between Washington and Ford. Broadway Village Fair, Congress of Racial Equity.
On Broadway,
Quality, that's a Broadway one.
Yeah,
which I'm not happy about.
Yeah.
every year,
Open.
yeah.
I heard some complaints from the community on the police athletic league, Broadway. Football.
Broadway scene.
But we knew that was gonna come.
Remember I said no?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, so this one again, is 831 Broadway Village, I would say, have to. Sure. And then it's another one. Next page.
8th Street, you guys have the same as me, 8th Street Block Party, Village Alliance, West 8 between 5th and 6th. We have another Village Alliance. Then we're getting into September. At least the good thing with the FY renewals is we know fairly far ahead of. Astor Place Fall Fair, Astor between Broadway and Lafayette. Bleecker Street Fair, 4th Avenue Fall Fair, Village Fall Fair, Astor Place Fair. And we're getting into November.
Okay, so,
Any of these?
Village Fall Fair on November 9th, Broadway again.
Yes. Broadway between 8th and 14th.
Very, very similar to the one between Fort Hill and Waverly. Basically the same.
So we have one in August and one in November.
So those 2 requests, we bring them in. Possibly change anything.
And then all good on Astor Place Fair. Astor between Broadway and Lafayette. No.
Yeah.
Seems like the Broadway ones are the only ones we want to bring in.
Yes. Yesterday, Little Red had the street fair and I went to it.
Really?
It's lovely.
Oh, good. Okay. Anything else on this? All good? Okay, business. Business it is. How do we feel about Veuve Clicquot?
I think they do what we suggested, I think it should be okay.
You know, like I say, with the usual language of they have to comply with all the rules and regs of the agencies that they're dealing with.
Not that we have much time to do anything about it, but they changed it on us last minute too.
Oh, sorry, Isabella, I know you're here for the NYU CAS block party. As of now, we don't need anything from you, but thank you for coming. And if we want to bring you in, you'll be notified. Yeah, she's on. She just in the chat, she said, do you need anything from NYU CAS? Yeah, sorry, it's an NYU. That's enough way.
I mean, I would just say this. You know, Pete Davis said they're selling tickets. They weren't honest about the times all the time. I mean, I'm just saying, or they're not aware, or I don't want to use the word honest. That was inappropriate. I'm saying that we're getting different information. Things are still in flux.
Well, to
They
the,
must know that they have these events from 7 to 8 p.m. on this night.
I wonder, it seems to me, and this isn't an excuse, it seems
more
like,
than one night.
Well, I saw 2 nights and then it looks like the other nights they end at 7, but I didn't go through every day that they were.
it seems like they are the company and they do not play the production company, and Luco is doing all the promotion and probably a lot of the programming, and they're not totally communicative.
And you know,
It's not
but
our fault
reflection of the
that
production.
they have to
Yeah,
come to.
it's not a reflection on the production company. We've had clients, we know. Clients are gonna do what they're gonna do. All I'm saying is that it's hard to prove something when there's a lot. Things seem to be in flux.
Yeah, and we don't have the option of saying deny unless. We're either saying okay with notation or
We have
not
to
at all.
decide what we're presenting.
Yes.
So are we saying okay, but? What do you
That's
recommend?
what we have to do. Because we have these
Okay, but
questions.
we have problems.
Concerns.
Okay, if. I don't know. I don't know the language. Well, do you want to go down the things of the list of things? I think we all can remember the ones we all.
You want to come back to that one?
Okay, I like that idea.
Or the list, sorry, wait, the list of issues with move or the other ones?
Ooh, but
Yeah, we can stick on move. Okay, so let's just. Going through. Pete put in the chat that he is concerned about the stanchion extending beyond the building, that they said they wouldn't, but Pete says that's nearly impossible. I don't think their drawing is scale or helpful, so that's also confusing. They're not helping us.
No, it's often a problem when a sketch is presented and it may not be to scale, it may not be accurate, even in proportions. Yeah, so there's a lot of unknowns really when you see a sketch like that with no dimensions on it.
But we've had sketches that weren't to scale before we were able to approve, right? So
Yes.
I think we should base it on the conversation because a lot of people don't.
Okay, right. So that's what I'm saying
Yeah.
too. We have to enumerate what we expect to see on site, not just on their plan. We expect to see a clear sidewalk of a certain width maintained.
A different, but there's the production days and then the exhibit days. So
So
those
we
are
need
two
5 feet in
different
both,
days. Right. No, I understand.
right?
I also think that, and I know, look, I know SAPO can't say no because of this, but I do think we should address accessibility. And
You brought a good point.
so I don't have a problem walking in the street when you put up the cones and stuff. I mean, it's New York City, right? But accessibility is the law. Like there's the disabilities act. So you need to have ramps so that people can get from the sidewalk to the right. And it has to be clearly marked, right? So
And when SAPO came, didn't they tell us that any like production load in, load out, like anything like that, they still have to have the 5 feet, and if they don't have the 5 feet, they have to do the,
Yeah, and it has to be,
and it has to have a ramp.
yeah, and it has to be clearly marked, you know. Cones are nice, it's nicer if you put up the ropes, but whatever. But I think we should be trying to remember accessibility issues. That is a federal law. Right, so, right, right. I would say concern about actual hours, since we saw on the website later hours than that were presented to us by the projector. So there is some real question.
Also, the number of people that will be attending, that was a question.
Oh, yeah. Quite a big deviation.
Adam put in the chat, that when they apply to SAPO, the number is how many they think they're gonna have inside at any given time. It's not outside, and it's not total attendance, and they don't think they're gonna have more than 74. Do we believe that? It's up to us, but that's what they're telling us, and that they're not changing their mind on that.
That's not the way the form is written. You know, when there's an event of any kind, street event activity, they're asking for total attendance.
People
that-
will be
for those
walking into
times.
the place.
Yeah, whether it's walking in or
No,
standing
outside.
outside. And
Because if they're already allowing people to sign up for tickets, they must have a limit on the number of tickets they're giving out, right?
Yeah.
So the production company might not have any of this information, but it's really hard when they're the ones who come and present.
Well, it's not our fault. We need to
Yeah,
have.
that's what I'm saying. So
So attendance, hours of programming, 5 feet, accessibility. They say 8, at least for 2 days.
that you could say that they will try not to have noise in the production days. Or the, whatever you call it.
They're not loading in before 8 a.m.
And no noise. They will try.
No noise before 9. Which I think is fair. We have earlier loading. I don't have a problem with it.
No, neither do I.
some very early loading
But-
times.
And I think they need to do their SAPO application, because they clearly are going past 7.
Mark asked what, we'll get maybe the revised application from SAPO if we can. Yeah, that's for me. Either way, they presented, I think that's.
It's at least 2 other times it's delayed.
Cut the other.
I wonder how long this website has been up.
I mean, I don't see any other, like, obviously, there's a lot of issues with the space and the landlord, but I don't think it's fair to put that.
Well, based on what SAPO told us, that's not a reason for them to say no. Right? Am I misunderstanding what SAPO presented?
No, but I think the community can call, well, they first can try and speak to them, and if they can't do that, then they can call 311.
Oh, yeah.
Complain about it,
absolutely.
and that will go to SAPO.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the chairs and the table, the last bit, we need those to be legal.
Right.
Which they assured us. it would be.
For the sake of consistency, how are we wording the resolutions? We approve and we have the following concerns. Is that how we will do each one?
I'm not writing these resolutions. But we've done this before, right? We've
Right.
recently done
Right.
these. I think it depends how we vote,
Well, I think,
and we can say, we are saying yes if if X, Y, and Z, right? We've done like provisional before.
Provided that.
Yeah.
Provided that, I like that. Yeah.
I think you can start by saying, there is there was some confusion because today they had changed their application. And that information did not get to us prior to the meeting. So, or the public prior to the meeting. So I think it's fair to say, this is problematic. So we were kind of blind here. And so it made it, it's a difficult situation for how the committee. And we'll vote and see how it turns out. But I think you need to say that at the beginning, that this was a difficult conversation.
What?
Want to call it difficult?
What do you think? I mean, I don't.
I just, the timing of the change of application makes this.
Problematic.
Okay,
Yeah,
problematic.
Probably.
That's better. Descriptive.
Now, nobody has problems, we have issues. I still have problems.
There are no problems, only concerns.
And I never take turkeys. My whole life.
I mean, I guess like when I think about it, if the community is like, we can't get a hold of this landlord, we've called 311, then part of our job is to say, I mean, I don't know, this is where like our meeting with SAPO changed how we think about this committee too.
Right, because
We can't just say no, because.
because the community doesn't like it. I mean, that's the bottom line. They
I
can't
think
just
we
say no.
also have to say in our resolution that these applications are coming to us way too late. We're close to the event and can even vote on that full board.
Well, that's always been our issue.
Yeah.
We get them so late. And that when we report to the full board, the event is already happened.
But at least they still read what comes out of the committee. So we do have a voice. It's
Yes.
just not the.
But I'm saying that we would like to see these applications more in advance than 2 weeks before, 10 days before the event.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a loophole, the 14 days, but it's 14 before event starts, not 14 before production load in. Because production load in is a part of the community's
Yeah, that
experience at the event.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, but whatever.
Okay, do we want to vote on this one? All in favor of
I
approving?
Aye. Ed? Ed?
Ed, are you voting?
No, we have.
Are you voting with us? I don't think he is.
Is that your hand trying to get?
Yeah,
unmute?
just get to unmute. That's unmute.
Oh, there's-
Ed, do you agree? Ed, we can't hear you.
You unmute him?
I've done it.
It goes fine. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah,
You vote to approve,
I think,
deny.
here we go.
Yes, yes, I approve.
Okay,
Approved.
thank you, Ed.
Okay, so we're unanimous approve with all of these.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you.
Okay, meat packing, July 4th, full cookout,
It's having tickets for these.
DJ 2 to 6, wrapped by 8, public viewing. I didn't realize Macy's was changing the fireworks to the west side.
Oh, yeah, that's what I.
They are?
Yes.
That's what they were saying. That they want to hold that's kind of why in reaction to them saying.
Don't you remember that it was east
It
side,
used to be.
then it was west side, then the block, you moved
Macy's,
it back.
yes.
See the-
Back to the Hudson.
Well, 'cause
And
the
the
block.
people on these side. Not to have it.
Are you kidding? I would go up to the roof and watch it once it was moved to the east, or I'm not happy.
All in favor of approving?
I,
Right.
Ed. Ed, Jimmy. And then the other two are no shows, so deny, right?
Yep, yes.
No, oh, sorry, I forgot to ask about extension refusal, nothing.
But we have shown for days. Is that?
So, sorry, yes, sorry.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
sorry.
That's the one we emailed earlier. And was listed with location.
oh,
I don't think.
Which one is it?
This was brought up today.
Which one?
Okay, Pete's asking for new business, so I think Pete brought this up. All right, are you guys okay with Pete speaking about new business?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, Mark, will you let Pete speak? Pete, we're doing new business. If you want to speak to this 529, we don't know a ton about it. It just came up today.
Which one are you mentioning?
529 Broadway?
That's the one that happened this last weekend?
Yes.
Right, just wanted to make sure that the committee understood that an applicant for an event in the meatpacking district, they didn't apply for Soho, but they showed up here.
What?
And they parked themselves on the busiest corner, right next to a construction site. It was very congested. And apparently, the applicant is the same sponsor or whatever they call themselves as the FIGS event, who didn't show up tonight.
Marty Barnes?
So what can be done with SAPO, but this is just a question. When a sponsor submits paperwork, are they certifying the truthfulness of what they're presenting?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
we have to make that.
So, for that thing that showed up here for on Saturday, their application said they were going to be in the meatpacking district all day long. So that was false. They were here. So I don't know what can be done about that, but we have a situation, and we're seeing it more and more, where these guys just show up. Sometimes it's they've withdrawn an application and they show up anyway. Sometimes it's they've applied elsewhere, they show up here. Sometimes they just show up. All three of those situations, they're stealing money from the city because they aren't paying the fee. So
We know that though.
if we just want to throw our hands up and say, oh, that's New York 2024, welcome to it, I guess we could do that. But that's not the way we're supposed to be operating. So I don't know what the answer is, but I'm just asking the committee to put some thought to it. And maybe it's reporting those to SAPO, keeping a list for future reference. I don't know. Anyway, I'll finish. Thank you.
Ask him a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Hey, hang on, Pete, if you don't mind.
Pete, so you're saying Marty Barnes Inc. are the people, the sponsor who showed up at 529 Broadway on Saturday from what hours?
Their social media said we'll be at 529 Broadway from 1 to 5, I believe, but they were here at 10 a.m. And they told us, they claimed, oh, we have a SAPO permit. And that's what led CB2 to look into the file. And at first was like, oh yeah, they do have a SAPO permit. And then Mark and Florence realized, oh, wait a minute, that permit is for the meatpacking district. That wasn't for Soho.
So they had a
This all
permit,
happened
their
together.
permit was just for a completely different location.
It was basically what we sometimes call a lie.
Did anybody call 311? Because I think a week,
Yes, but
They
NYPD,
told us to call 311 and to submit it to, I mean, I've done this not as a committee member, but as a resident. Since our SAPO presentation, I've started emailing SAPO pictures of when.
that's how it was brought to the attention of CB2, because when the 311 was filed, it was then copied to Mark and the bid and a few other people in the neighborhood. So it was documented. Yeah. But the problem is that if NYPD shows up and says, do you have a permit? And they say yes. What are they going to say? Oh, well,
Yeah,
it's bad actors doing what they want to do.
yeah. Ed, are you wanting to comment on this one?
Yes, I wonder, could you put in writing, the detail, recording all the details, time and event, and how people, those so that we can proceed. We can make a decision from there. We can give some kind of warning first, confront them. They have to make a decision, yes or no. They have to assert themselves. They cannot be. This is not just like a child play around. This is a very serious business.
Mark and Florence have an email thread with pictures and everything that
Yes.
that they sent. So Will and I got copied on it today, so we can forward it to the rest of the community. So, and I think it is good for us to know that this is Maddie Barnes, because it is on the production people to adhere to what they come and ask us for a permit. And this is how we do on liquor licensing, where you're the operator and we have to assume that your way of operating is going to be standard, and we give good actors the benefit of the doubt and we don't give bad actors the benefit of the doubt.
Are you able to start keeping a spreadsheet and flag for us?
How about a spreadsheet? We can certainly try to keep track of these things. One of the problems with this.
Yeah.
One of the problems is that as soon as the event date passes, we can no longer upload comments on the event to the SAFO site. It closes. Even Florence, who has the direct line. So our only recourse, and when we, now that we have the full story, one that we will do is we will email one of our representatives. We'll just basically forward the email thread that we shared with Will and with Erica today to that representative. But it's outside the ordinary course. What they want to hear from us is in advance of the meeting, does this meet the criteria which we're allowed to comment on, not after the fact of what happened.
Well, we'll be commenting, I believe, we're discussing it now, commenting on the FIGS event coming up. And we'll introduce this information about this past event in relationship to the FIGS event.
I don't get a vote, but if I were in your chair, that's exactly what I'd do.
Logical.
I wonder if we should start, I'm just using aloud, maybe at another business session, is should we start coming up with a list of changes to the SAFER website that we want to propose? Like, could you keep it open for 2 weeks afterward? You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's a business section. You could talk to Will about things that we're observing.
Didn't we have them here once and we questioned it?
Yeah, they told us if, we ever see something to submit it. There's like I've done this, there's a very clear submit to SAPO. And I think, the more we know, we can say this production company, I say like, we can see everything as a citizen that we can.
Right. But I'm saying that, and I don't want to keep people here late. I'm saying that maybe we, at another meeting, so we come back to SAPO with some recommendations. We can also CC the borough president or city council member saying, these are things that if you could change in the SAPO system the next time they're doing it, like stuff like that. It's not critical of SAPO, but if it was open and we could put that information in there, it would be part of the official record for the next time they apply. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Good idea. Let's do it.
Yep. Okay. Problem. So we'll add that to the comment on FIG. We'll get it in there in that way. But I also added that for Will.
Okay, so that's no.
And potentially, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's just, I'm trying to think of how we do it on SLA, but I guess we just kind of remember and keep track of these production companies so we keep their word and tend to create problems.
Kind of the way it is.
There's no like official tracking per se.
I don't know of a formal way.
I mean, ideally you use the SAPO site and we use it as one thing altogether. But
Well, the thing about, with board members transitioning off, we don't have people with 25 years. We're not gonna have people who've done this for 25 years. So starting to keep a record somewhere. So within the next group who do this, they're not starting from the beginning. They're like, oh, Marty Barnes, and they on. And then the next person.
I'm always amazed that, in a meeting, at SLA meeting, Carter will,
he'll remember
his
things from
laptop.
12 years ago.
yeah,
Carter remembers everything.
yeah. Well, he either remembers or he knows how to pull it up from
Right.
the files.
Very impressive.
Amazing, yes.
While we're talking, he's pulling it up,
Yeah, exactly.
24 years
Just amazing.
Oh,
on
wow.
this committee.
Wow. So
Okay,
anyway,
then Rosia's gonna remember. I'll look at it.
already,
Just so I don't remember sometimes the names, but when you're bad actor, I do.
Okay. Okay, so we have this new biz stuff. The suggestion for the SAPO stuff, keeping track of bad actors, everything else doesn't change as a result of this.
Okay.
Mark, you'll forward the relevant information to the committee for Ed's request.
for 529.
Is that okay for 529, so you can see the pictures of and the detailed information? All right, anything else?
Well, the last item, if we're making special note of things, is that
Yeah.
we're asking the two Broadway events to come and present before us. to
Yes.
see if there's-
So we'll bring in, Mark, is that a you notification if we want two of the applicants to come in to ask them to change the venue? The FYIs, two of the FYIs, we want to ask them to change the venue off of Broadway. One's for August and one's for November.
Okay.
So Village Fall Fair will lay over.
Why Broadway?
Disruptive.
I don't know. I live
Yeah,
on
look,
Broadway. I live on Broadway right here. I don't find it too disruptive.
Traffic.
Oh, it's the
The
traffic.
traffic.
If you're coming
Traffic.
downtown traffic, where do you go if you hit 14th Street? You'd have to go all the way over to Third, I believe.
And then you can turn on certain streets.
Yes, there's no left.
All right, so I'm just gonna say, we have a car, we have a weekend house, we were coming back last night. And there was a street fair on Broadway, and we had to go like 8 blocks out of our way. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, like, my
You had an
Mine-
emergency vehicle and you had to
Okay.
get someplace.
emergency vehicle, there are cops with the, I guess I'm saying that I don't know that the whole city or my whole neighborhood needs to say events that
Okay.
everyone can participate in, that are free and open to
You
the
know what?
public.
There are many other streets besides Broadway,
Okay.
besides the major thoroughfares to have these fairs.
Okay, but those are,
Not
they're.
major, not Sixth Avenue,
They're,
not Broadway.
but they are wide. Okay, and I think Broadway is different than Sixth Avenue. Sixth Avenue is a highway. But all I'm saying is I don't think just because it inconveniences people like me in a car, that a free public event should not necessarily happen there. But I'm not gonna, I'm just expressing my opinion.
But we don't have to vote to lay over. We can just ask them to come and we can hear them out on
Okay.
why it's there and what the alternatives are and talk about it and then we. Sorry, am I supposed to ask if all the other FYI renewals are
Read them.
unanimous approved? We have to vote on them though. Did we
well-
vote on those?
Well, I thought we did, but,
Talked about them.
We talked, everyone seemed fine with them, but I didn't know if I
Yeah,
had to say that.
let's have an official vote.
Okay.
Okay, all
Okay.
of the FYI renewals except for the Village Fall Fair and the Broadway Village Fair, both of which we're gonna ask to come in, talk about it, and then vote on those. So those are laying over. Everything else,
Right.
are we
Okay.
approved on the FYI renewals?
Yes.
Approved,
Yes.
approved.
Yes.
Any recusals? No. Okay, abstentions, no. The Village Fall Fair and the Broadway Village Fair from Congress of Racial Equality. The one on August 31st. Okay, sorry, this is a little out of Good, everyone happy?
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Sorry, I was a little all over the place. That one turned out a little. Thanks.
Thank you, Erica. Thank you.
Very interesting.
Meeting
Bye.
adjourned.
I loved reading the history on the Veuve Clicquot. That means widow Clicquot. Back in the 1700s or 18.
Thank you. Hey, Michael, you didn't hear him at all, right?
Enduring woman who
Winning.
took over the business after
Sure.
her husband died at the age of 27 years old.